Some clergy have eulogies at the end of the service, some have them in the very beginning. I like them in the middle. And I like them before my homily because, you know, I knew Charlie. No doubt I knew him. Charlie and I were in the fire world together. The family opened up. The rest of the world came today. And that's a wonderful, wonderful thing. Set your troubled heart at rest. Trust in God always. May the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart always be accepted by you, my Lord and my Savior. As I said earlier, this is a celebration of Charlie's life. And it is, even though we are gathered here today as relatives and friends of Charlie's to vent our grief. However, in our celebration, we should also express our gratitude, as well as our grief at our loss, at the empty space in our lives. Gratitude for everything Charles meant to us, everything he continues to mean. It is a day for tears and a day for smiles. A few weeks ago, I was at Jefferson Hospital in Philadelphia. I found myself one of those revolving doors. You know the type one person can get in. And if they're as big as me, it really can only be one person getting in. And it goes around, and then it stops, and the next person gets in. And for the most part, these doors work rather well to keep steady flow of people coming and going with little loss of air conditioning or heat. I had entered the door after a family, one at a time, went through the door and they exited. I didn't. I found myself going around again for a second time as another person entered. And when that other person entered, the door stopped. Stopped moving for a short period of time. And I found myself standing still only for a few seconds. I eventually made my exit and proceeded to visit a parishioner. But as I sat thinking about my friend Charlie and the impact that he had had on my life and many others, I couldn't help but relate to those revolving doors. Charlie stepped into my revolving door for a shorter period of time than I would have liked. And the doors came to a stop. And in that short time together, I was graced with a wonderful friendship, one that would be hard-pressed to replace. I had the privilege of knowing Charlie. Now, each life that intersects with our own can bring us some awareness of God, whether through that person or sometimes in despite of that person. Charlie gave us reminders of God through the person he was. He bore witness to the truth. He loved creation through the many camping trips and hunting expeditions, and the care of taking care of his homes and his love of his family, and his willingness. His willingness. What a gift it must have been. His willingness to simply be Charlie. To be himself. We had a lot in common. He was a firefighter most of his life. I had been a firefighter since I was 16. I'm 73. You do the math. A long time. Charlie and I were both chief officers. We both served in the U.S. Navy. I was on a flat top. For those of you that don't know what that is, it's not just a haircut, it's an aircraft carrier. He bounced around in a tin can, which is known as a destroyer. Charlie served in World War II, and even though I looked that old, I did not. He was a member of that greatest generation. And you know, when that analogy came out of the people that served in World War II, I first kind of did a double take. When you think of it, absolutely the greatest generation. And he was a part of that. We talked about his service in the Pacific, his duties aboard ship, and he was very proud of it.